you're something to your boss, but your boss's boss, boss's boss, they don't know you. They don't know your family. They don't know you have kids. And they don't really care, you know? So
Right.
at that point, I was like, I talked to my
Right.
husband, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave. I'm definitely going to leave. He's like, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm going to leave. He said, okay. And then we didn't say nothing else about it. And then this year came, August. I said, I'm going to put in my notice. I'm putting a whole couple months notice. He said, you really going to do this? I'm like, yeah. So I'm wait for me. No, I'm not waiting for you. Not waiting for you. So, you know, I'm walking out on faith. That's all I can say.
Hey, what's going on? It's Lionel Mosby Jr., and you're now in with the Lion and the Lambo podcast, where we discuss biblical entrepreneurship, impact, and true success. And I'm so excited today to have a sister on, okay? Jamelia Williams, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed. I can't complain.
Blessed and highly favored, as some would say, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I always ask my guests when we first jump on, we first start the podcast. My first question to them always is like, what is your biggest win to date as an entrepreneur? What would you say your biggest win to date is?
My biggest win today will probably be a contract with a multi-million-dollar company. It's in the making. I'm going to say it's already there. So that will be my biggest win as of right now.
Wow, that's awesome. A contract with a multi-million-dollar company. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? So we're on the way to Millions Cupcakes being the multi-million-dollar company that people trying to get contracts with. You know what I mean?
That's what we're on our way to. Correct.
That's awesome, man. So I always just like to, start off and just find out a little bit more about, just the background, right? Because a lot of people who are going into entrepreneurship, they're coming to start from different places, right? Some of them may be in a situation where they're actually starting off and they're coming from a job. Some people may have already jumped off into entrepreneurship, soon, maybe straight out of college, right? So we all come from different places and different backgrounds, right? I want to know from you and your perspective, growing up, what was the view of money in your household? What was the view of money, in your church community? How did y'all view finances?
Growing up, I would say finance-wise, I never had to want for anything. My parents pretty much took care of everything. We were the kids that would go to Vegas, Disney World, Boca Raton, Florida, so
Wow.
my childhood, I didn't really want for anything. I wasn't a Jordan fan, but I got, Reeboks, Air Force Ones, So my dad always made sure we had shoes, so growing up, my childhood was fine. I didn't have any problems pretty much.
So you came up in that environment where you had the parents that were basically taking care of everything. Was it something as far as finances or money that they kind of really taught you growing up, or was it a thing of like it was kind of out of sight, out of mind because everything was really just taken care of?
I would say probably out of sight, out of mind because everything was taken care of. So, I asked for this, I never said pretty much no, or, we probably will see. And, it wasn't never like, no, you can't do this. We don't have the money for it.
I got you. Okay, that's interesting, right? So when was the first time you came to the realization, right, for yourself in your personal life that like, hold on, like I need to think about budgeting. I need to think about like my money coming in, my money going on out. I need to think about, when my bills are actually going to hit. When did that first kind of realization come for you then?
2014 when I had my first kid.
Oh.
We got this other person that we need to take care of. That I need to take care of. Like, okay, so now I need to figure out what's what. Where my money coming at, where it's coming in, how it's coming in, where do I need to spend that? I need to get a little budget going on. I still have bills. Now I have this person. So, yes.
So it was the kid. So it was like an Enoch experience, I guess, right? You know what I'm saying? You had the child and just had a totally different experience
Exactly.
after that, right?
Before it was just, me, my husband. I have a bonus child, but she didn't live with us. So again, before it was just us. We get up and go. We get to go here, go there. But when we started having kids, that's when we was like, okay. Well, he was always a budget person. Me, no, I wasn't.
Mm,
Was not at all.
got you.
Let's do this. Let's do that. But yeah, as soon as we had our firstborn, that's when I started looking at things differently. Started
Okay.
planning for the future, all that good stuff.
Got you, because you were thinking about this person outside of yourself now that you had to consider. It kind of brought in a different thought process and mindset. That makes sense because it's kind of like you're saying, you kind of had the growing up where the parents would take care of everything, and even though you were married and both, you and your husband, right, it was still maybe I guess more in the mood of like, whatever we want, we just basically do it, right? Where he may have been considering budget and things like that, but still just kind of figuring out and making it work regardless.
Correct.
Is that kind of gotcha? Yeah. So when the kid came, it's like, hold up, wait,
hold up, let's pause.
That is so cool. So what was it about? What was it about having a kid that really made finances or paying attention? I guess to say right to your finances like really pop off, right? Because I understand that there's somebody outside of yourself you have to take care of, but was it like something specific or a specific moment that it really kind of hit you or slammed you?
Not really. It was just in general, clothes, food, that type of bills, doctor's appointments, that type of bill. But it was nothing really major because, I'm a chef. So when he was little, or both my kids were little, I would actually make their baby food. So it wasn't like I was not, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really that until age of now where they eat a lot.
Oh my goodness.
On top of that, it was not really something major. It was just them, period. What school they're going to school, type of stuff. Am I going to put them in private school? Those type of things.
Yeah, and daycare is another mortgage, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's exactly. it can be really expensive, and like you say, you got schools that you gotta consider. So yeah, kids definitely bring in a lot of thought process and conversation that you really don't have to have. Definitely not as a single person, not even married until you in that position, right? So that's a really good point. So that's 2014. Have your first child, right? Now, you're starting to have to think about finances and money. What were you doing around that time? Were you working? Were you full time? Were you in your entrepreneurship role at that point? Like, where were you at that point?
I was actually full time. I was at the point. Well, prior to that, before I had my kid, I would probably be doing maybe 60 to 80 hours a week. When I started having him, I'm like, hold up. Just staying late at night at work is not going to do. I need to back off some. But yeah, I was at a full-time job. I have been at a full-time job. The place where I'm at right now, come September, which I won't be there in September because May the 6th is my last day there. But come September, it will be 13 years. So I was, full ahead. Again, it was just me and my husband. So I just came home with him, not to kids. So that's when I started thinking like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be doing this in the long run. At least I'm not going to be spending that much time because now I have kids. I don't want to miss basketball, softball, baseball, I don't want to miss t-ball. I don't want to miss none of that stuff. So I need to start figuring something out or just, gradually actually, scheduling my time better.
So it really was the time element for you that was the most important thing because you were working so much and you realized like, hey, I'm not going to be able to be there, so much for my kid. Is that one thing that I guess, is that one of the biggest, I guess, benefits that you would say or that you see on being able to be self-employed and in the entrepreneur world? Is that kind of
time? Yes. Spending time with loved ones, period, because you never know. You might be here today, you might be gone tomorrow. So time is definitely one. the job that I have now, in college, so I'm a retail director. So I kind of like oversee all the little convenience stores and fast food places on campus.
Hmm.
But during the summer, it's like a little laid back. We have like summer camp and whatnot. And I do get Christmas and Thanksgiving off, so it was a big deal jumping from, because I used to be in the restaurant. I used to be
Okay.
actually a casino. So it was a big jump from being a casino, it's open what, 300, every time, every day, nonstop. Then coming to a college where you actually have breaks, almost like a teacher.
Hmm.
But then, of course, I wanted more because sometimes I wanted to go home, which is Atlanta. ATL is my home. And
Right.
to either stay for events, or I didn't want to turn around and come back. And then my kids, their cousins there, so they want to, stay a little longer and whatnot. But yes, um, time is a big part of why
Mm.
I'm stepping out on faith. Yes,
Wow. Yeah. And like you say, right, it's important. We don't know when we're going to be gone. We don't know when those loved ones are going to be gone. And so it's really important for us to actually, have more quality time with them as well. So that makes a lot of sense. That's really, really important. I think that's sometimes a lot of things that we don't think about. Even as entrepreneurs, we don't think about it, right? Even in that same base, I guess, how do you manage, right? Because now, as you're saying, right, you're actually about to make that transition to where you're going to be completely full time with what you're doing, with your entrepreneurship business, but and leaving, what you've been doing corporately. How do you find yourself being able to manage to be able to also have time to grow your business, to still function properly at work, but also still be able to have great family, quality family time as well?
exactly. And that again, that is one big reason that I am, leaving and stepping out of it, because at this point, when I first started Mila's Cupcakes, I didn't think about a future. I thought about little side gigs, some extra money. I love baking, so it was not like
Right.
a job for me. So I love doing it. I could do this anytime. I started off saying that I was just going to do cupcakes, and I do everything. I do cakes, brownies, cookies,
Mhm.
everything, candy apples you can imagine. And that was not one, when I started in 2018, that was not one idea that I was thinking like, I'm gonna do this full time. No, it was.
Mhm.
It was always something extra, extra,
Mhm.
extra hustle. But then, when the pandemic came, or right before the pandemic came, I was like, I might can do this now. I might can actually do this for a living. Like, why not? Why spend all that time at a corporation
Mhm.
when you can be doing it for yourself? Like, how many times are you gonna make somebody else rich? That was my
Mhm.
question. Like, how many times are you going to make this person rich or make this company rich? And you only get 3% back, or you only get such and such back. I mean, you're never worth what you are giving them.
Mhm.
That makes sense. A price would never be able to. I would never be able to come up on a price for what I gave them. Like, they would never be
Right.
able to pay me back for everything that I gave them. So why don't I
Right.
do all that and focus on my business, where I know that I can, receive what I need to receive.
Mm. That's powerful. I think that something we had briefly discussed before when we was talking to as well, the fact that, a lot of times if a company is paying you a certain amount, right, whether that's 50,000 or whether that's 75 or 125, whatever the number is, you got to think about how much are you then making them, you know, how much you then attributing to their company, their bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Because that number has to be larger than what they're paying you. It has to be substantially larger than what they're
Mm-hmm.
paying you in reality, right? And so if you're thinking that, you have a skill, you have a trade, you have something that you can do, right? Why can't you then take that and cut out the middleman and then actually then replenish all that money that you're making for them and now sweep a lot of that into your own pocket? And that's, I think, what you're really talking about and what you're saying to us today.
Exactly. That's
So
exactly what I'm saying. Exactly.
nah.
And, again, when the pandemic hit, you realize what is important. Margaret Weir, what is important to you? Is family important to you, or is job important to you? If anything happens to you, is job, what? They're gonna turn around and replace you. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, you're something to your boss, but your boss's boss's boss. They don't know you. They don't know your family. They don't know you have kids. And they don't really care. So
Right.
at that point, I was like, I talked to my
Right.
husband, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave. I'm definitely going to leave. He's like, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm going to leave. He said, okay. And then we didn't say nothing else about it. And then this year came, August. I said, I'm going to put in my notice. I'm putting a whole couple months notice. He said, you really going to do this? I'm like, yeah. So I'm wait for me. No, I'm not waiting. Not waiting for you. So, I'm walking out on faith. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, it is, you're walking out on faith, right? And God is giving you, that evidence of you and your life and your experience, and even the things that you're doing. Because, like you say, you go back and say, "Hey, I was working in restaurants, right? I was working on campus, overseeing these different things. So I can take those same skills that I learned in doing this for other people, and now apply it to my business as well." And what would you say are some of those lessons that you learned, right, in those previous jobs, right? And I mean, previous / current, right? You know what I'm saying? It's a mate, right? But what have you learned in those from those jobs, right, that you held, that you see clearly that you're now being able to apply to your own business, right? Melia's Cupcakes.
The bottom line, margins, food costs, how much this one thing is going to cost you, and how much are you going to be able to profit from it. Customer service has always been a key element, which I never really had a problem. It was just the people that I hired had a problem with customer service. I was never, it had never been a problem with me, customer service. I'll always greet with a smile, talk, even with, customers that had an issue. I have never had a problem with customer service again, my employees have. So, and I have learned everybody, work different and pick up things different. But my major thing would be, breaking down recipes, going from top to bottom to see how much a specific thing is going to cost. My environment, or where I'm located, is also, something that I have learned. People that
Right.
your people that is always something to look forward to, are people that you are, what I like to say, like my coworkers are people that they know. It's always something. It's always good when you can find somebody that can help you, or know somebody that can help you.
Right.
You bump heads with a lot of people, but you never know when that one person can get you, or when that one person can actually put you in the right place at the right time.
Did you have somebody? Would you have a person in your experience that did that for you?
I have a lot of people, actually. I have a lot of people that actually have put me in the right place at the right time, and will still probably do it in the future. So I'm just, weighing my options, bumping heads with a lot of people, talking to a lot of people. So interacting with, like, again, you never know who you might be talking to or who they know.
Right. Right. And so and that's why you always gotta, I always say, right, don't burn your bridges. You never know you need to cross them again, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta stay networking, stay connected to people, stay nice to people. At the end of the day, you don't know what people are going through sometimes, right? They just may be having a bad experience that day or whatever. But yet that connection, right, could help you, right, in the future. It also may help them in the future, right? It may not even be necessary that it helps you in the future, but you can turn and still help them in the future, right? Because it's a relationship is two-sided, right? And we want win-win situations, right? Like we always say. So I want to ask you too, because you talked about those margins, right? Talked about knowing food costs and things of that nature. Was that something early on when you started the and I do want to get into the story of kind of how you actually like jumped out there with the cupcakes, but just to understand, like at the beginning of that process, was that something that was an easy transition as far as like actually knowing your numbers and actually knowing because sometimes when we do it for other people, we don't automatically start doing it for our business, right? It takes a second for us to realize like, hold on, I need to be doing this, this, and this, right? You know what I'm saying? And knowing my costs here, just like we do over here, right? Was that kind of the experience you had, or for you, was it like an automatic thing when you first started on your own?
It was automatically, really.
Mm.
Like right before I started, again in 2018, I broke my cupcakes down. Again, I was just saying that I was going to do cupcakes. That's why I said needless cupcakes. I started breaking down my expensive cupcake and just going from there. And then later on, I said, "Hold up! I don't think I remember putting paper. I remember putting, cupcakes or displays or." Um, Anything that paper wise, I didn't put that. I didn't add that to it. And then
Mm.
now, as I'm going full head on, I have to break down my cakes now. Am I costing it right?
Mm.
I have to do my labor that I did not. Okay, at the beginning, I did not do labor at all. All I did is food. But now I have to do
Mm.
it. So hold up, let me sit back and figure out, okay, how much I'm going to give myself, plus how much it's going to take me to make this cake.
Mm.
I would say at
That's
the beginning, food, yes, but at the end, it's really paper, product, containers, labor,
right,
gas. How much it's going to take me to actually go get these products
right,
and all that in to make sure that you're making what
man.
you need.
That's crazy. Like that's a lot, and that's something I've thought about before, right? When somebody was thinking about going into the food industry and stuff like that, about okay, how do we actually break these things down for? Because like for example, you may have say, you're not buying necessarily like just a jug of milk, for example, or just it may be a container of butter or something like that, right? So how do you like really break down like how much did for this one cupcake that I'm selling, right? How much should I be charging for the butter that I'm using in this, or the milk that I'm using in this, or egg or flaxseed or whatever you're using to make it, right? Like a flour or whatever, right? Like, so are you literally taking like, okay, the flour costs me this much per pound. This is how much flour I use per cupcake. So
That's
based on that, wow, okay. So you have to be extremely detailed.
yeah. So down to okay, if I get this flour for a pound, such and such a price, it takes me what 8 ounces, 12 ounces in this cupcake. So yes, you're breaking it down to the salt, to the vanilla extract, to the butter, to
Mm,
the sugar, everything to get that amount. How much it's going to take to make this one cupcake, and then from
wow.
there, maybe 30%. Are you trying to do 50%? Are you trying to get 50% profit or 30% profit? Then you times that time, how much it takes you. So yes,
Got
it's
you.
that serious.
Got you.
That serious.
But in your cost, you're also including labor, gas, all packaging, all that too. So you're not. And I feel like that's probably where a lot of people, when it comes to not. I mean, our food is one thing, but even products, period, right? Is like we probably not accounting for all the things we need to account for, and that's why our profit margins end up being so small, is because we haven't really done the mental work to really think about every single thing that goes into making this thing, you know what I'm saying, down to how much time it takes me to even go to the store, to the place, to the warehouse to pick up stuff and drop it, you know what I'm saying, or to ship it here. Like, there's so many, I guess, it's not even necessarily hidden costs, it's just, we got to take time to think about it and to really consider it, you know what I mean? Because it's so important if we're going to actually make money, right, on what we're doing.
Yes, if you want to make money. If you just want to, bounce it out, that's good. But as this being your only job, you need to make money because the bills not
Mm,
gonna stop. The bills are not gonna stop,
wow.
so you need to make money.
They're definitely not going to stop. What is it? What have you found it to be the? I guess is there a normal margin when we talk about the food industry as far as the profit margin that is added to the price? Is there a certain thing? I mean, a certain amount that is kind of standard, I guess, in the food industry.
Well, I'm just going off of what I have learned. Food cost needs to be like at least about 30 to 34%. And again, depending on what you want to make as your profit, I'd say 50%. I'm trying to make 50% of my profit. So whatever
Mhm.
my food cost is, I divide that into a 50%, and then it tells me my total. So I'm trying to make half of my profit of whatever my cupcake.
Gotcha. So if the cupcakes cost $7 to make, for example, you want $3.50 profit. So you're going to charge $10.50.
There you go. Exactly.
I got you. I'm getting there. I'm learning. All right.
Yeah.
Look, this is important. I don't have a product yet, right? But maybe one day I might, right? So I need to understand how this goes, right? You know what I mean? If I want to get to that point, you know what I mean? But I want to understand too, right? Because how did that jump and leap into cupcake start, right? Because you were working, kind of in the food industry for other businesses, right? Like you were talking about. But what was it that made you say, you know what? I want to actually make cupcakes for other people to actually taste and enjoy. Like, where did that come from?
My husband. Shout out to DJ LaSalle, Randy Williams. He was one of them.
It's always us eating the food because we just know all the food is just so good. We just like, look, this needs to be in somebody's restaurant. It might as well be yours, right?
And the first of it, he don't even really eat it. He don't even eat my cupcakes.
Really?
He really don't. Like, I have to force him. He's not a big sweet fan. It's
okay.
So I had to force him to taste this. Yeah, it tastes good. It was him and my best friend since elementary school, Michelle. Shout out to my girl. I call her my bunny to my Clyde. She was like, "You can do this for a living. You can do this on the side." It was them my whole family. During Christmas, prior to this, I used to make my aunties and my cousins cupcakes or little cans of cookies or brownies, for a present.
Right.
So I used to do this way before the kids and all that good stuff. I used to do all that way before the kids. When we had Lance, my first child, I started doing birthday parties. Who's gonna buy a cake? Who's gonna buy cupcakes? And who's gonna do this? Who's gonna decorate? Me? I'm gonna do this. And once I really started seeing that I was doing this, and my best friend and my husband, he was like, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this as your side? You can kill it. You can really do this. So why don't you do it?" And I'm in Troy, Alabama, and they were like, "It's not nobody really around here doing it, so you could do this. So that's what pushed me, and I was like, well, you know what? Let me try. Again, it's not a job, it's a hobby. I like doing it, so why don't? It's not gonna hurt to try. So let me try.
That's awesome. So it was the environment around you. One, you had the skills, you love to do it, right? And then the people around you gave you that confidence to really leap out there. That's awesome. What was do you remember the first client that you had that was an actual client outside of just your family members?
Yes, I do. I still got, so before I actually stepped out of there, I actually used to take some treats to my coworkers. I used to use them as my guinea pigs, and so they would be the first ones that taste everything outside of the family. And before I jumped out there, I had a contest where if you share this amount on my page, if you share this, and you pick a number, you get to win a taste of about 5 different cupcakes that Lila Cupcakes will offer. And I think about 5 or 6. I think I had about 5 or 6 winners that actually won that, and a good amount are still my customers now. One of them was Zakia. She was one of them that said, "You asked me, are you gonna do cake?" I'm like, "No, girl, I ain't doing no cake. I'm gonna stick to cupcake." She was the first one I made a cake for.
She's like, "Well, I need a cake. You ain't gotta do cupcake for nobody else, but you gotta do a cake for me." You know what I'm saying?
So it has been a lot of people that have been behind me before at the beginning, and now it still is. So yeah, I got a good customer. I do have a good loyal customer. I would say that.
That is awesome, even to hear how you kind of did that switcheroo, right? You know what I'm saying, of kind of doing that like little contest type thing, right? And getting them say, hey, this is, you're gonna win this. Because really, you just need people to just taste it. Once they taste it, it's like, all right, I need that. You know what I'm saying? I got to get some more of that, right? You know what I mean? So that's powerful. That is really awesome, you know, to just hear kind of how that jumped off and how that started, you know what I mean, with what you have going on now. With when you talked about your when you talked about moving forward, right, and growing the business, what was the biggest for you? What was the big most important thing, right, that you had to do in order to actually grow the business beyond kind of just your general circle of coworkers and family members?
Advertising. I had to advertise, which I have slowed down, but it's coming. It's going to come even harder now. I had to advertise. I have to go out there. I had to do pop-up shops. I had to be seen or be known. Um, you know, I live in Troy, Alabama. My
Mm-hmm.
husband is well known. He's a DJ, a great DJ. I'm not just saying that
Okay.
he's my favorites, but he's well
So
known.
that helps. That helps. That got to help some.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because he would send, he would actually post. My wife is about to start a, cupcake business, and he has followers, so they would share. So that was great. But outside of that, they again, you have to get them to taste it. Yeah, they know DJ LaSalle. Well, they know my name now, but they know DJ LaSalle wife made cupcakes. But they taste good, So me doing pop-up shops or me doing, selling stuff. I started like mini cupcakes. I would, share some, even give samples.
Mm,
So it's always word of mouth. Always. That's the most
right.
powerful advertising there is, word of mouth.
Just the word of mouth advertising, the pop up shop, but just being present, I guess, right? And always taking advantage of opportunities to let it be seen and be known, right? You can't be a secret business owner, right? You know what I mean?
You sure can't. You cannot. You will not last if you're a secret business owner. But just getting out there and doing advertising, paying for advertising, and actually just getting out there. Even little pop-up shops have been my biggest success.
And so I know you said you do cupcakes. You ventured over into doing cakes as well. What else do you do under the Miller's Cupcake brand?
I do custom cakes. I do candy apples. I do brownies, cookies, and pretty much all this is from scratch. So I do everything on the sun. I do, I guess you want to say treat tables, like candy apples, caramel apples, caramel apples. I do cake pops, I do popsicles or cake popsicles. I do pretty much anything that you can imagine that you might want for any party. I can do it. Parfaits.
Wow.
So I can do it all.
That's awesome. So you just grown over time and just ventured out into a little bit more. So it's almost like a complete sweets company, that deals everything sweets. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty dope. And now do you have before you were started and you were kind of doing it at your home, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And now have you got to go ahead?
Oh, yes. So at the beginning, again, like I said, I never thought of it going outside of my home. Again, so again, it was just hustle. It was just something I was doing for fun. Which I'm sure sometimes my husband wish he never said that to me. Never said, you should do this, because now when he doesn't have to DJ, I have to be in the kitchen now. 10 hours out of the day or whatever. But so again, and that was one thing that also made me step out of faith, because I feel if God didn't give me this idea, He wouldn't give me this idea for just to give it to me. He gave it to me for a reason. Hopefully, well, it's not hopefully, it's already in the making. I will have my Sweets on Wheels, which is pretty much cupcakes mobile. So that is my next adventure, and it will be this summer.
That's awesome. That's gonna be dope. So it's gonna be kind of like a food truck kind of.
I would say, well, a sweet truck, a delivery truck, pretty much. Because I would still make everything here, and then I would pretty much put it all in my trailer and go wherever. I can post.
I got you.
Festivals, at carnivals. I can just post up on the street and sell out my trip.
Gotcha. And that's like the little, like I guess like the little trailer that has the top. I guess it could lift up and
Oh, it's
you
not
can
a
sell.
little trailer now.
Oh, it's a big trailer. Oh, I don't.
It's
Hey,
not
I don't know.
a little trailer would be probably a 12-footer or a 6 foot. It's a good size trailer, and I got
Okay, okay.
everything in it.
But this is a trailer that's pulled by a truck though, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, gotcha. I'm just trying to understand the type, I guess, but it's a longer one. Okay, okay. I got you. And he's like, look, this a big trailer. This ain't no small trailer.
It's no small now. I can do everything I do in my house. I can do in the trailer. So, yes,
Wow. So the trailer is equipped to be able to even cook in too as well, like bake in too?
I have an oven. Yes, I do.
Wow, that's big. So that's pretty cool. So you kind of are using that as a way also to kind of get around, not necessarily having to go into a specific like storefront then. You know what I'm saying? Is that a little bit, I guess that's a little bit more
Overhead.
is a better it's a better deal with overhead. That and it's movable, right? So you can use it to go to every festival. You can
Anyway,
you can still you could be making stuff. Man, that's actually a great idea. What prompted you to have to go in that direction and move in that direction versus trying to go into the straight store direction?
well, again, for me being in the business, I know what it takes to just open the door. I know what it takes to
Yeah.
keep the lights on. I know what it takes. And I'm like,
Mm,
everybody asks me, you ain't gonna make no baking? No, I'm not gonna do no baking. I wouldn't say, well, I'll definitely say right now, I'm definitely not gonna do no baking. I
mhm,
rather do mobile where I can go and spot and move as I please, and all
mhm,
I gotta do is print up the top.
mhm,
Know? So, yeah, and me knowing again margins and what it takes to turn on the lights, unlock the key, that's what made me go the other route. And again, that's why I said it was only God because He gave me this idea. You know, I follow a lot of people, I see a lot of things, and something, just clicked one day. It was like,
mhm.
"Hey, what? How can I do this? Well, I don't see too many people. As soon as I thought
Right,
about it, I started looking it up. And it's food trucks and street trucks, but not in my area, not in Atlanta, not in, it's not necessarily sweet trucks. It's always food trucks. It's nothing
right,
else, So I was like,
right,
why not? I
right.
mean,
No, that's very unique.
yeah, it only makes
It,
sense to me.
yeah, I mean, it's a very unique concept, right? And you really would have something completely unique that kind of corners that market as far as like, man, if we want something, if we want sweets, like this is the company to call for our festival or for our event to come out, right? You know, to have it there on spot. So that is super super dope. That's why I mean I thought that was an interesting concept of doing it like that. I've seen sometimes people like turn buses into like produce places, right? Where they can drive to different areas that are food deserts. So that's kind of like one of those kind of unique concepts that I've seen, and that kind of reminds me of that as well. So that's pretty dope. So if you say 3 years from now, right? You know what I'm saying? 5 years from now, you say this. If I asked you, where would you be at that time, right, in your business? What would you say that you would be then?
5 years from now,
Yeah,
um, I would say probably another truck, another trailer, definitely.
two
And
trailers.
yes, and I would definitely probably be. It's no probably. I would definitely be in um, colleges, like actually
Mm.
inside, in their little, I guess their area where they have food or whatever, like little restaurants that they have. All colleges have different restaurants and different vendors. Chick-fil-A, Shake and Shake. They have different vendors. I can see that in the near future.
That's pretty dope, and that's almost like going back home for you, right?
Mhm.
Because of the background, and
Exactly,
that space.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly
you
what it
got the
is.
connections. Ooh, that would be dope to see Millions Cupcakes at Prairie View A&M University. That would be
Of
pretty cool.
course, exactly. Yes, you're right. You're right. You can
Go
come
to the game like I'm be ordering stuff like, yeah, I know the owner, right? Yeah, let me get one of the cookies in the back.
exactly. So that's what they always say. Dream big, don't dream small. So hey,
Hmm. You gotta dream big. You gotta think about stuff that's outside the norm, right? I remember watching a presentation one day, and this guy was talking about this concept where he was talking about, I forgot what he called it, right? But it was dealing with dreams. And he was saying that if you don't dream outside of your normal thought process, there's so much stuff that you can't accomplish, right? Because of just the fact that you dream something bigger than kind of what you see around you, it forces your mind to now think different and reach for bigger goals, right? And I know that I've figured that and found that to be true in my life and experience, to actually dream and to think bigger, right? And to reach for, bigger goals. And sometimes it's like you have to go back and say, you know what, I'm gonna completely throw away that goal that I had and make a bigger goal. You know what I mean? Just so that I can reach higher. And then I'm gonna exceed that goal that I even had. You see what I'm saying? But I've come to realize that you can't hit anything that you don't aim for. You know what I'm saying? You can't accomplish anything you're not shooting to accomplish. So you have to first have this big goal. And that actually reminds me of this challenge that I'm actually been running and been doing. It's called the Engineer Your Vision Challenge, right? And I just want to take a moment just to tell everybody that's listening about that challenge, right? This is for entrepreneurs, it's for aspiring entrepreneurs, wherever you are, right? One thing I found with us a lot of times is that we don't really even have a clear defined goal, right? We don't have a clear understanding of where we're going, which is a lot of times just doing something, right? We kind of know how to do something well. We kind of learn something in a different industry or different space, and we just move it, right? We a lot of times find ourselves just super active, super busy, but it's almost like we're on a treadmill. We're not getting anywhere, right? And for where we want to go in our life and in our experience. And this is the point of the Engineer Your Vision Challenge. It's to take that idea that's somewhere in your mind, right, to make it clear to you. Because guess what? You can't accomplish a vision that you don't clearly understand and clearly define, right? It has to be clear, it has to be understood. Then you can make clear steps, right? A clear plan to accomplish that goal. And that's the whole purpose of the Engineer Your Vision Challenge. It actually comes from this scripture that says, write the vision, make it plain that he may read that run that reads it, right? And that's what we want you to do. We want you to be able to run towards your vision, towards your goal. And so if you're interested, if you say, man, that's me, I've been in that space, right? I felt like I'm just going through the motions. I don't even really know exactly what I want to accomplish in my business as an entrepreneur with my side hustle. Then go to engineeryourvisionchallenge.com. That's engineeryourvisionchallenge.com. Sign up for the wait list, right? And then we'll get in touch with you, right, when we launch, so that you yourself can actually have a clear defined vision, a clear defined goal, and a plan to get there as well. So engineeryourvisionchallenge.com. So man, Jamelia, it's been an awesome time, discussion with you. I just want you to close it out with just, first and foremost, right, where can people find you before we close it out, right? How can they get in contact with you if they want to? Can people order your products and get it shipped to them? Is that something that's possible? Like, can I get something down here in Texas?
Yes, as of right now, I am shipping cake jars, brownies, and cookies, and you can go to my website, www.needlesscupcakes.com. That's my website for all the people that are not on social media. But I have Facebook, which is Melia, MELIA, cupcakes, and Instagram is Melia_cupcakes. So, yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, so y'all make sure y'all say it again.
So you can also call me at 770-864-4287.
Awesome. Get straight and direct. Like, this is what I need. Okay. I also was gonna ask you too, before I ask you to close us off with just some encouragement. I kind of saw some of the designs you had. I guess maybe these are like the custom cakes that you're talking about, right? Some of this stuff is like super intricate, right? You know what I mean? that I've seen. Was that something that you knew when you first started beginning, or was that something that you kind of, I guess, invested in, kind of learning and things like that? Because I saw them like, dang, that stuff is fire.
No, and it's funny that you say that, because now I do reels on Instagram where reels from 2018 and reels now, and my younger sister said, "Ooh, that growth is good." And at that point, they was like, "Ooh, that looks good. That's great in 2008." 15, but now when I do side by side, it was like, oh, we was lying, weren't we? It does not look that good now. But I am always buying videos or like
Mm,
do I'm studying stuff, cookbooks, baking books, videos on tutoring on how to do this, how to do that. Again, I do that all the time. Like for instance, my candy apple class. I done took like 3 or 4 candy apple classes. I got it down pat, and they came
mm,
with us. So I always say, if you want to learn something, don't be afraid to buy it. Everything is not for free. Yeah, you can YouTube it, but when you have somebody that actually instructs you step by step, and you can go back and look at it step by step, it's much better. And that's exactly what I've been doing ever since the beginning.
mm. Gotcha. So you invested in yourself. That's the reality, and you continue to invest in yourself.
You have to. You have to.
Man, yeah, that's the most. I think that's the most. The thing that I've realized in my experience, and when I see other entrepreneurs who have scaled up or they're now on that trajectory, to grow their business, that's the big difference, right? Is are they willing to actually invest in themselves? And a lot of times that's in the departing of the funds or the finances, right? To actually make that leap, because sometimes we can look at things, we can study things, we can kind of search the internet, Google, right, to find different stuff. But the same type of work or the same type of effort isn't, and it is. I don't think it's that we don't want to do it right or we don't want to accomplish it. It's a different level when you're willing to put the money behind, right, what you say, behind what your lips are talking about, right? And it's almost like, man, when you put the money behind it, like your mind learns so much more. I guess it's just like a thing, like, man, I spent this money, like I'm gonna get something out of this. I'm gonna get something out of this course, out of this class, right? So that's awesome, man, just to hear that you invest in yourself. And I hope y'all that are listening, right, that you guys recognize that it is important for you to invest in yourself as well, right? Whatever industry you're in, whatever you're doing, whatever you're inspiring to do, right? Maybe you haven't even started, but you have a desire. Well, look, the quicker you realize that investing is a part of the journey to grow and a part of the journey for you to get where you want to go, the quicker you'll actually do it and the quicker you'll be there, right? The longer you wait, right, to depart with this thing that you're holding on to, which is just a tool. Money is just a tool, right? But the longer you hold on to it, the least you'll be able, right, to even connect with the people, to get in the rooms with people, right, who've already done what you've done. And that's one of the best things that you can do in your life. Get in the rooms with other people who not only have they started this business, man, they've started multiple businesses. They got like 13 restaurants now, right? You know what I'm saying? But if you in the room with people who never started a restaurant, who never sold a cookie, never sold a cupcake, yeah, man, like you're gonna still be crunched down here. But as soon as you get in the room with other people, man, it makes you rise up to the occasion. And so it's very important to get in that room. But Jamelia, man, I just want you to close us out. There's some other people out there right now. There may be people who are even watching this program who have a desire to get into the food industry specifically. Maybe not sweets, maybe not dealing with cakes and cupcakes, right? Maybe dealing with something else, right? What are some advice, right, that you have for them as they're looking to start or as they're looking to launch out into that field? Maybe they haven't started yet. Maybe they're kind of where you were when they have just families and friends just kind of talking to them and saying, encourage them, saying, you know what? This is really good. Like, you may think about selling this, right? What would be some tips or advice that you would give them, right? Just like how, if you look back to you when you're in that position, what are some things you would tell yourself?
One thing that comes up all the time, it's funny. Scared money don't make money. Scared money do not make money. Meaning, you have to jump out there. You have to invest in yourself to get what you want. And then another thing that my brother says that sticks to me all the time, shout out to Father Success, Savon Williams, always bet on yourself. Always. And that's exactly what I'm about to do, bet on myself.
Scared money don't make money, and always bet on yourself. Man, thank you so much for sharing, right? I hope you guys really, if you're listening, right, really take those nuggets and hold on to it, right? Because a lot of times we look at ourselves, right, and we literally tend to lessen our abilities. We lessen the knowledge that we have, the skills we have. but you gotta bet on yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta bet on yourself. You can't be scared. You gotta take that leap of faith. Like I said in the episode before, on one poem I wrote, it says, they're at the edge of the cliff. I see the fear in their eyes. You know, we're not friends if I don't tell you jump. And I'm not talking about suicide. At the edge of the cliff, I see the fear in her eyes. We're not friends if I don't tell you jump. I'm not talking about suicide. She like, what if I die? I'm like, what if you fly? All she see is brown dirt. All I see is blue skies, right? So you have to dive. You have to jump off that cliff in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So thank you guys for joining in. Thank you, Jamelia, for sharing. This has been, yeah, man, this has been the Lion and the Lambo podcast, where, you know, we talk about biblical entrepreneurship, impact, and true success. You can find us on every streaming platform, Amazon Music, Apple, Spotify, like literally we're everywhere where music is being streamed, so you can catch us there. And of course, if you want to catch the visual experience, you can always catch us over on YouTube, man. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow. Please hit the like button, man. Leave a comment. Let us know what was your favorite thought from the episode. What was your favorite moment from Jamelia's story, right? So that we can know, right, how to make sure we put content together that'll be a blessing to you as you seek to grow your business. But don't forget, we're not just here just to talk. We're here because we want you to take this information to go out and impact the world. We'll see you later.